Okay, boxing fans, right now I'm talking about my prediction for Adrien Broner versus Antonio DeMarco. Right now, let's start with Broner. We're going to look at his record, 24 wins, 20 of those wins coming by way of knockout, opposed to Antonio DeMarco, 28 wins, 21 of which coming by the way of knockout, to two defeats, one by way of stoppage, and also a draw thrown somewhere in there too. I'm going to go into the advantages, what each fighter brings to the fight, and then we'll see how it should all pan out in the end, shall we? Starting with the power, and I'm going to edge that slightly to Antonio DeMarco. He is quite a heavy-handed boxer puncher. I like that kind of style. I think it's exciting, but it's also scientific. It brings the best of both worlds, and he's quite a good fighter. I like the guy. He sets up his shots very well, and that could be a worry for Broner. He is untested in the chin department, and his skills haven't been tested fully either. He's just been too big at 130 pounds. Obviously, he's moved up to 135 now. The question is, will that extra weight help his chin? Not that it was anything wrong with it in the first place, or we don't know anyway. But this guy did walk around at 150 pounds. Will all the way coming down have an effect on his chin when someone lands a bomb on it? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, like I said, Antonio DeMarco has been more of a prolific puncher in his recent history. The better fights he gets, the better he actually performs. It's quite great, really. When you look at it. Broner, yeah, I think I like the guy. He's got decent power. Maybe it was due to his size at 130 pounds. He was basically able to bully his opponents around from pillar to post, but he was also able to land real nice, clean and crisp shots, both on the inside and outside. He's a very good fighter, very good talent. I like him, I like him in the ring. Outside the ring, we don't have to talk about that. But yeah, inside the ring, this guy's talented. If they put him in some good fights, we could get some good matches for boxing out of him. If they cherry pick with him, I don't think I want to be around for the train. Looking at the speed, yeah, I'm going to give this one heavily to Adrien Broner. He does have those very fast hands, nice hand speed. That's one thing I do like in boxing. A guy who's got really good hand speed, that's quality. DeMarco obviously does struggle with hand speed, as you should all very well know. He definitely struggled with the hand speed of Edwin Valero, but it was also the combination of explosive power versus excellent hand speed as well that really put him out of that fight. He did well actually staying in. He only quit in that fight. It wasn't Edwin Valero knocked him out. It was that he went, nah, no mas, and said he doesn't want any more. That was how it ended, really. Will Adrien Broner be able to replicate the hand speed of Edwin Valero? Probably, yeah. He could probably move on from it too, but I don't think he can replicate that kind of power that Edwin Valero brought to the fight. Definitely not. Also, another one to look at would be obviously Jorge Linares, who was one hell of a fighter, one hell of a talent. He's still going, but he's a shadow of a man. Sometimes people talk about great trainers, and sometimes it's not about getting with the most well-known trainer. Definitely in the terms of Jorge Linares, he went with a total wrong trainer, totally someone who just wasn't good for him. Total waste of talent in my eyes. Obviously he took a lot of rounds against DeMarco. It was the hand speed that really set him away in the first half of the fight. Obviously DeMarco caught up with him and really broke his face, and that's something Adrien Broner's going to have to be looking at. That DeMarco can, if he catches you, really put a beating on you and stop you like he did with Linares. Also, just switching it up and looking at the Antonio DeMarco speed, he's got actually some decent speed himself. He's got that sneaky speed that you don't always see coming, which is very important in boxing. If you watch his last knockout, it was all down to his hand and foot speed, which would allow him to set his feet, fire off his backhand without firing off a jab, and he was able to really hurt his opponent, put him on the back foot, and then he was able to take advantage and put him out, close the show. Moving on to the movement, and yeah, I'm going to give this one to Adrien Broner. This one's a good one for Adrien Broner. I like the foot speed of Broner. We're gonna see more of this hopefully as he gets into better fights. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway. Better fights, stuff like that. Good foot speed. He gets him inside the range, landing clean shots, gets back out of range before he can be tagged in return. Very important if you're going to try and style yourself on someone like Floyd Mayweather. Obviously, he did have some issues at 130 pounds with some of the veterans that he came across. But, he seemed to have got better in different fights. Let's not talk about the other ones right now, those fights I was talking about right now. But, it's something to worry about. Definitely those fights are something to worry about. Looking at Antonio DeMarco, he does set up his movement very well. He sets up his shots off his movement very well. He can disguise his backhand like he did with Molina. And he's just got a nice combination of hand speed, foot speed, different types of speed. His whole boxing ability is quite decent for the type of Mexican fighter he is. And he's a very good Mexican fighter. I like him. The boxing ability, Adrien Broner, starred himself upon Floyd Mayweather. That is actually Floyd Mayweather at 147 pounds, not based on him at 130 pounds. He gets hit much more than Floyd did, and does, and he doesn't have that same power Floyd did at 130 pounds. If you actually compare the two, and you compare not just the records, but you compare the performances, Floyd Mayweather was a beast back down at 130 pounds. There's a lot more to be desired from Adrien Broner, especially at 130 pounds, and hopefully he can push on from that at 135 pounds, because if my memory reminds me, so I'm just doing this off the top of my head right now, Floyd didn't have that many fights at 135 pounds, so if he could actually push on from where Floyd left off, if he has a better quality number of fights at 135 pounds, and he can make up for the lack of a resume he has at 130 pounds compared to Floyd Mayweather. Otherwise, just looking at Antonio DeMarco, he's, like I said, good boxer puncher, very heavy-handed. He knows all the tricks in the book. You got to realise that how to disguise the punches. He throws those dirty shots. Don't get on the, don't get it twisted. He can throw that dirty shot on the blind side of the referee. He's got that natural survival ability. You can see that in the Edwin Valero fight, that he was able to not just fight in spurts, but also just survive in a fight where he was expected to get knocked the fuck out. Let's be real, I'm unsure about DeMarco's finishing ability. I think they've taught him very well how to finish a fight, right? But he's not got that naturally built-in killer instinct that some fighters do. If he did, I think his knockout ratio would be probably higher and more devastating the way he finished the guys. I mean, the way it is now, 21 wins by way of knockout is not bad. Definitely not bad at all. But this is going to be a real test for Broner. It's going to be a very good fight. I like it. If there's a distance kept between them and DeMarco's able to get his attention with some power shots, there could be some shocks on the cards. Who knows? Who knows? Looking at the chin, last and not least, I give the advantage slightly to DeMarco. He's not been knocked out before. Well, knocked down, sorry. Well, as far as I can remember, obviously Edwin Valero did stop him. I don't know what really to bring from the Edwin Valero fight, because it was a very young version of DeMarco. He's moved on from there so much, and even though he was stopped in he quit in his own corner. Will he quit against Broner? I don't know. He looks a different fighter right now, and he's got that world title. If I had the world title around my waist, I wouldn't want to quit. I'll be saying, I'll go out on my shield. I don't care. Other than that, I don't know really. Obviously do not know what the chin of Adrien Broner is like. We'll have to see how that is when it comes down to it, really. And it will come down to the point where Adrien Broner and DeMarco are trading punches, and then someone's chin may have to go. If that's the case, I would be very surprised if DeMarco gets stopped. I'll be very surprised. Other than that, the last thing I would say is just watch out for those boxing politics in this fight. This fight's got boxing politics wrote all over it if this is close. If this goes the distance, to win the fight, on the average scorecard, this is the average fan, not the die-hard fan, the average fan. On their scorecard, if DeMarco wins the fight 8 rounds to 4, then he'll win the fight. Anything else, and it'll be too close, and I think they'll give it to Broner just because he's obviously more marketable. He is the new money train, and they can do a lot more with him in terms of fights, weight limits, and they've got a lot more options with Broner. That's the way they do it with the boxing politics in Golden Boy. So we'll see. But for my official prediction, I'm going to say Adrien Broner will win this fight by unanimous decision.